Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I do not see our Sergeant at Arms.
He's out getting food.
He's out getting food. Okay. Well, I'll kind of move the program around. Last week, we received a Paul Harris +1 pin, and it had Patty Williamson's name on it. I don't know if we, from the memorial, people did or not gave to the foundation, but that is yours for an honor of Pat. And that represents a total of $2,000 given to the foundation. So that's wonderful. Appreciate that. And we were Patty was a wonderful, wonderful lady. I got out my book. Students called me one day and said, "Hey, will you do an interview with us for the Rock Road Rebel?" And so, well, which one? Is it the Pattonville Rittner or the Rittner Norman? So I had to get out and but they wanted to know when the first game was held between Pattonville and Rittner. And I got out the book, and Patty's book, he wrote a history of the first 125 years of the school district. Very interesting. Didn't mention anything, so I had a book written by Don Greco, 2 books, who was the Pattonville coach. And the only thing I could find was that in 1965, they reorganized into the Suburban North Conference. Prior to that, there was the Big Ten Conference and the Little Nine. Pattonville was in the Little Nine, so I don't think they should have it. At any rate, I digress. We have a conundrum today with our celebrations. First of all, Mary's birthday is next week, January 24th.
23rd. Trust me, it's 23rd.
Sure?
I'm 100% positive.
Okay, I could have typed it wrong, but the other conundrum also involves the Robinette family. Yeah. Because according to Mary, they were married on January 23rd. According to Dave, they were married on January 14th.
I will bring in the marriage certificate next week to prove that it is 14.
So, they've been married for 39 or 40 years, either this week or this coming week or last week. I'm not real sure.
Now, if you're trusting Mary to put in the date, let me not record this. If you're, she doesn't look at it here. What am I saying?
No, come on.
If you're trusting Mary to put in the date, the first year and a half, she kept saying it was the 15th of January. Because that was the original date we had planned, and we moved it back one day to the 14th to have an evening wedding. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. I found an easier way to do it. We got married the day before Thanksgiving. That way, I don't care what day it was. It's the day before Thanksgiving.
Not about the date.
You're not about it.
Ours was Saturday after Thanksgiving.
They're married on Thanksgiving.
So, and Chuck is not here today that I can see. Chuck, are you online?
No.
Nope. Okay. Chuck's 1-year anniversary with the club.
Wow.
So that. So, Mr. Sergeant at Arms, yes, happy bucks, fines, etc.
I like to keep more positive.
All right.
We have a fine group.
Yes, we do.
But anyway, welcome everybody. Glad to be here. How many years, Mr. Robinette, will it be?
It was.
Well,
we're in our 41st year. How about that?
That's right. That's awesome.
Unless you believe Mary's activity.
As I said, if you want somebody to help you down the road, you might not want. Never mind.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're quite welcome. I'm just happy that Dave is being kind to me.
He is. So it's sad, but one of my classmates from the history government, Jackie Howard from Central Missouri, passed away last week.
cancer. She was a great lady and did a lot of good things in her district. She lived just north of Fort Leonard Wood. Anyway, it went on. So
I'll put one in and try to keep it as short as possible. It should be very simple.
hi, everybody.
So Liz is now Liz and Jesse are now in Dominican Republic, which means you need to have a passport. Liz they started getting stuff out a couple of weeks ago, set the passports aside. Great. Jesse's mom comes over to help clean up, and they have no idea where Liz's passport went. Liz figures this out Thursday. They leave Sunday morning. So, being in a panic, and I would be too, no two ways about it. They prepaid for the whole trip. I would definitely be in a panic. So she did the best thing they could come up with. Thursday night, she flies down to El Paso, stays at a hotel Thursday night, goes to the passport service office Friday morning, presents her old passport, which was 8 months from being too expired to use as a renewal. So she was in under the wire on that. Waited several hours, wandered around El Paso, got her passport, flew back home Friday night to leave very early Sunday morning.
Oh, my God.
But it got done.
Wow.
So, as Paul said, well, she problem solved and you didn't have to pay for it. Yep, you're right. We're good on that.
Wow.
Mr. Thomas Blaze, you know, she's nodding and what are you happy about this?
I got it.
There you go.
What do you
I have too many things to celebrate and be happy about to enumerate them all. So just celebrating many things.
I'm going up to New Hampshire this weekend to help my daughter celebrate her 50th birthday. And I can't believe, how can I have a 50-year-old? She talked about it. David. Thank you. Dictionary for Dawn.
I will reach out and find out when we can call the principals and make our appointments. So
I have two. I'm happy that Howard got up also. And I'm also paying for your dollar announcing that your daughter's 50th birthday that you didn't pay for.
Did your daughter get back? Did she get back yet?
She got back Monday night. Yeah, very tired.
Mr. Andy, what's up today?
Well, I'm sorry, I missed the last 3 meetings, so I'm fine.
Okay. Well, we saw each other at the park the other day. That's right.
I'm starting a bike trip at what, 5 o'clock in the evening, was it, or 3 in the evening? It was dark, it's getting dark now.
Keeps trails are empty usually. Dr. Lindley, thank you.
Yeah, my Mohs procedure last week went swimmingly, and they got all the cancer in the first slice, so stitched me up, sent me home, haven't had the first pain. So it's wonderful. And I don't have to shave for 2 weeks. That's the best part.
I can't even call this a happy bump, it's a buck, but I have a leg that's swollen up and the doctor says you need an MRA. And I had to look up and find out what that was. It's an MRI that looks at your vascular system rather than anything else. So I get in, finally, it takes like 6 weeks to get the appointment. I go into Barnes, they get me in a little gown, and a tech comes in and starts describing what's going to happen in the procedure. And I said, well, I'm not a doctor, I play one on TV, but that's not what I'm here for. I said, I'm here for an MRA. And he's looking at the chart, he's looking at me, he's looking at the chart, and he goes, that's not what it says here. And he goes, wait a minute. And he comes back in with the radiologist, and they're like, we called your doctor, there's been a mistake, you're booked for the wrong procedure, we can't do the right procedure today, so you have to get back in touch with, you know, scheduling and all this kind of stuff. And now I've already waited 6 weeks to find out why do I have a swollen leg, and now I get to wait until February 9th. But there's nothing like that look on that tech's face when he's looking at the chart and looking at you going, that's not what it says here.
Yeah.
Is it the leg that you had the knee surgery?
Yeah, but it didn't start swelling up until 5 months after the surgery.
You didn't go ahead and get the mammogram?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the good news is it's a boy.
I favor the other lake for one. Not you celebrating this fine morning.
Morning, found out my sister's gonna have twins.
Wow.
Good for your sister.
Treasurer Ruth, what's up today?
I don't know. My speaker's not here, so this might be a sad.
We keep going about 10-15. Let me add a dollar for my daughters.
Since your speaker is on here, that means you're gonna give us one of those two. On any topic you want. I wouldn't want to take your overall.
Oh, no.
Back now.
All right, well, I will, as they say in the radio and TV business, scratch. So we'll jump down to the Rotary Bulletin quiz. This was a Mark Twain quote. And unfortunately, I have not resupplied. So the gift you get is the one you get today. So, because our good friend over here was brave enough to act last week.
And I wear it proudly.
And you wear it proudly. That's very good. Okay, so Mark Twain said, the older I get, the more clearly I do something. What was more clearly he does? Yeah. What's that?
We forget.
It's not it. Anybody else?
See.
Hey, the more clearly I remember things that never happened. Here we go.
Oh,
Right. Yes.
a little tidbit I learned the book I'm reading and listening to on the flood of 1927. Here in St. Louis, Eads Bridge is a big historic place. Everybody kind of knows it's probably been on it. James Eads' probably bigger project that he should be known for is helping widen the mouth of the Mississippi River so the big ships could get in the 20s, because the silt from up in the north deposits when it gets down to the bottom of the river, it just drops and creates shallow water. He proposed to probably the Corps of Engineers he could, with proper channelization, get to where 30-foot ships could come in and increase, even help St. Louis get our exports out. And he did that, and he had a kind of a no cure, no pay contract. If I don't do it, you don't have to pay me. And he got it done. And I think probably historically that's more important, because over time it helped us get our grain exports out of the exported, so forth. So I just thought that was kind of interesting about Mr. Eads, because I've always been fascinated. I did a third paper on this Eads Bridge when the Eads Bridge was practically new.
Okay. So the question I have is, how do those ships compare to the ships and barges and tows that come in now?
Well, 30-foot was what he got, and that's probably not very much now. I know when I started the river business many, many years ago, a barge would be from the bottom of the barge to the surface walk 11 feet. Now they're 14 feet. Every inch you load a barge more, every inch is 18 tons more cargo. So another foot of cargo is really a lot. And
nobody told me there was going to be math this morning.
well, there's a lot of cargo moving. The ships are bigger and so forth. And I don't even think New Orleans can handle the real super big ships. But,
yes, sir.
So Tom telling me that made you have a question.
Yes.
He made me have a question too.
Okay.
How did the Mark Twain thing make you go, oh?
well, it's Mark Twain was a famous.
So, okay, I was trying to figure out how that went to bar with it connected.
And James, he's now third in Belgium.
I'm in the right one, I'm in the right one. Rich, this is the,
You spend too much time, on the north here, so this is what we evolved to, a little history, a little trivia.
leave and look what happened.
Yeah, that's right. So, Howard, Dan is our president nominee, which means 2 years. How about if you be the president nominee designate?
No.
And get us.
I will say this, so 1 year I attended the Rotary Club in Wisconsin more than the president did. I meeting about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a nice Rotary Club. When we came up, I had a meeting with you, so. And I see that our guest speaker is here, so Ruth, would you like to introduce? And we'll go from there.
Well, sure. This is Carolyn Butte. She's the Director of Mission Effectiveness for Access Academies, and which has been open since 2005. And Carolyn's been here since 2006. So she's going to tell us more about that. And today is her birthday.
Or we could sing.
Please wait till she speaks.
Thank you to Ruth for inviting me to come talk to you today. As we said, I've been at Access Academies for 16 years now. And has anybody ever heard of Access Academies? No, okay, virgin territory here. So Access Academies is a separate 501c3, and we're not a school, but we work in 3 middle schools here in the St. Louis metro area. We work with St. Cecilia on the south side. Has anybody been to their Mexican fish fries during Lent? It's a big deal. So we work with St. Cecilia on the south side. We work with St. Louis Catholic Academy on the north side. And then we work with Sister Thea Bowman over in East St. Louis. And so what we do is we partner with their middle schools. And so we work with their middle schools, with the kids, and we see them into a good private high school. We work with them while they're in high school, and then we get them into college, and we see them through college. So we have a at least 11+ year relationship with our kids. And the way that we fulfill our mission is through enrichment, counseling, and scholarships. So for the kids in our middle schools that we work with, we've got about 150 kids right now in our 3 middle schools. We offer them, or we implement in their middle schools, an extended school day. So the kids are there till 5 o'clock every day. And we offer them programs like robotics or coding or nutrition and cooking, book club, Girls on the Run, soccer. And so we do these things with the kids from 3 to 5, and we have a mandatory summer school. So we go till like the end of June with our kids. That's what we do in middle school. In high school, we get them into high school. And is everybody here, have you been to high school in St. Louis? Okay, so you know what a big deal that is. And so it's a big deal for our kids too. Our kids are primarily lower income students, and they're going to be the first in their families to go to college. Okay, so our kids are underserved, right? And they come from backgrounds where they might not, they don't know to take an ACT prep class, so they don't know that you have to apply early to college. So we do all these things with them. I have right now 5 graduate support directors, and they're officed in the middle schools. So they're there with the kids every day. They implement that after school program, and then they follow them to high school. So right now we've got 200 kids in 22 different high schools throughout the city, most of them Catholic, because we're in St. Louis, and that's who runs the private high schools in St. Louis. Most of our kids are not Catholic though. Most of our kids, are either Black or they're Hispanic. And so they're not the majority in their high school. So that comes with its own struggles and challenges. But our graduate support people that are officed in those middle schools, they follow the kids to high school. So in the morning, they're out and about, they're visiting their kids at the high schools, and they're engaged in what we call invasive counseling, let's say, right? So they're on the kids. They say, okay, let's see your grades. Why haven't you turned in your work for your theology class? Let's look at your attendance. Why were you gone? Well, why are you not enrolled in a math class? You have to have math to go to college. And so they're on them, and they make sure that they're doing what they need to do to get to college, because that's our goal, to get them to and through college. So we are out there, we are on the kids, making sure that they know what's expected of them. We have a lot of programming in high school. We have ACT prep classes that are mandatory. If you don't take one in your high school, you got to take one with us. We have a program called Access to College, and that's one Saturday a month for our kids, for our juniors and seniors. It's mandatory. You have to attend these classes every month, and we have writing classes. So we work with them while they are juniors on their writing skills. We give them the prompts that they will need to do to write their college essay or to write their scholarship essay. We work with them with career planning. Where are you going to go to college? What kind of research have you done? And it's in a class situation, but it's actually a working time. Our staff is there on these Saturdays, and we pull them out into little groups, and we make sure that they're applying to the colleges that they're supposed to, that they are applying for scholarships, that they're involved in the extracurriculars that they need to do to put on that college application, because we all know how important that is. And a lot of times, because our kids are the first to go to college in their families, that they don't have that parent at home, have you done this, and this, because they just don't know. They're working, right? They don't have the background of having been there to know what to make sure that their kid does. So we kind of handle that. Okay. And then, there's the whole college application piece. When we finally get them into college, then we have people who follow them through college, right? Who, if they're local, they're going to UMSL, or they're going to Maryville, Lindenwood to visit our kids, right? And we're having them come back for different kinds of programming, and they help with our Access to College program, and they help with our senior send-off that we have every year. So we try and keep our kids involved and engaged through their time with Access Academies. And like I said, it's an 11+ year relationship that we have with our kids. Access, we have entered into a partnership with St. Louis University. So about 2 years ago, Access and St. Louis U got together, and they said, let's work on these. I mean, they're mutually beneficial things that we can do with each other. So I am actually an employee of St. Louis University. Access pays SLU, and SLU pays me. SLU pays all the other graduate support people. I am officed in SLU, and our 2 college and career counselors are officed in SLU. Our other grad support people that are officed in the middle schools, they are also St. Louis University employees. So St. Louis U gives us space for our ACT prep classes. They give us space for our Access to College classes. SLU is also engaged with Access Academies in doing a program evaluation. So they have these real smart eggheads at St. Louis U that are looking at our program and making sure that we are doing the best that we can for our kids, that we are offering everything that research says needs to be done to get kids to and through college. So we're engaged in that right now with St. Louis U. St. Louis U people help us with our Access to College program. There's a lot of smart people at SLU, and SLU has really been great, in helping us move our program to the next level. So that's been a really great partnership with St. Louis U. I don't know how long you want me to talk but I could just keep going. So you tell me to stop, Ruth? Okay. Our biggest line item on our budget, I keep saying our, but I mean Access Academies, because it's not, Access Academies is still, you know, they have an executive director, they have marketing people. Those people have to go out and raise money to provide the SLU with the funds to implement our program, right? So Access Academies is a going concern, and they raise the money to pay me and to pay all of the other grant support people and to fund our programs. But the biggest line item on Access's budget is high school tuition support, because that's where the enrichment, counseling, and scholarship, that's where the scholarship comes in. And Access spends about $600,000 every year on high school tuition for our kids. So we get them into a good private high school, oftentimes away from their neighborhoods. Our kids mostly live in the city in North County, but they go to all of the private Catholic high schools here in St. Louis. We've got a ton of kids at Rosati. We've got a bunch of kids at CDC, DeSmet, St. Lucie High, Notre Dame, Chaminade, Incarnate Word, Ursuline, Villa. We've got one kid at Westminster. So we help to pay their tuition, because there's no way that their families would be able to afford it without our help. Okay, so between us and the high schools, who are very generous with their financial aid, and the families all pay something, we can afford to, or that family can afford to put their kid through a private high school. And then, those high schools also partner with us in getting those kids into college. And we are able to pay about 1,000. It's not a whole lot, but we're getting that up. $1,000 per year for our kids for college, because we weren't always a college attainment organization, right? We got our kids to college. But about 5 years ago, the board got together and they said, it's not enough just to get your kids to college. You got to get them through college, right? So then we started having focus groups at all of our middle schools. We got our kids in college back to talk to us about what they needed. And we implemented our college counseling department. And so now we actively are, invasively counseling our kids in college to get them through college. And paying a little bit of their tuition as they go along. But the biggest chunk of tuition that we pay is at the high school level, because I don't know if you've all had kids in private Catholic high schools. The tuitions are going up and up and up every year. I think it costs $20,000 now per year at St. Lucie High and Villa to put a kid through. So, but the high schools have been very generous with our kids. So that's kind of what we do. In a nutshell, I know it's kind of like drinking from a fire hose, but we partner with schools in the city to help kids get to and through college who otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to do so, because they do come from those, an underserved neighborhood. Did you have a question?
Yeah. Identifying the kids, the candidates for the program out of middle school. How do you go about that?
We take all comers. So if you are in one of our middle schools, you are in our program. You don't have a choice of whether or not to participate. If you don't want to go to school every day until 5 o'clock and you don't want to go to summer school, then you need to find another school. So every kid who is accepted into that elementary, that K through 8 school and makes it to middle school is in our program. So we don't cherry pick. We don't do any testing. Every kid is in.
Okay. I guess not a fair question maybe, but I'm thinking about the kid that's really not college driven, not motivated, the vocational. aspect, the trades, and at what point and how do you filter the kids? Because there's value in both.
Sure. And when I say college, that's a great question. When I say college, I mean any post-secondary path, right? You need more than a high school diploma. You can get a short-term certificate in welding. You can get your associates in HVAC. You go to, Rankin, and all of that.
So those are all pieces.
Yeah, and I, as Ruth knows, I come from I used to work at Battery College for years, and my father started Quincy Technical Schools in Quincy, Illinois. When my brothers and I got out of college, we went to work for him. So I'm a big proponent of the trades, and I know that is a wonderful career path for kids. Even if you're college material, you might want to think about the trades, because there's a lot of money in the trades, and people don't realize that. So we have kids at Rankin, we have kids, we had a kid out at, I don't remember, but we've had a lot of kids go through Rankin. We've had kids who wanted to go to hair design school. So one of our first graduates from my college program was a graduate from the Grabber Hair Institute. A guy went to barber school, right? That was what he wanted to do, and he's making a great living. Some people just want like a short-term certificate, maybe in billing and coding, and we have a partnership with EJC that we can send them right through that pipeline. All they require is a high school diploma, and then they will provide the training. The kids can even go back or attend at the same time St. Louis Community College and get an associate's degree. So I should have said that at the get-go. When I say college, I mean any post-secondary path, because we push, you need something more than a high school diploma to get ahead. And so that's what we do. That's our thrust.
How long has this been going on?
Since 2005, and it was I don't know, does anybody in here, are you familiar with Loyola Academy in the city?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Loyola Academy is a Nativity Miguel school. And a Nativity Miguel school has a longer school day, extended school year, and then graduate support. And so John Vatterott, who I work for at Vatterott College, he was one of the founders of Loyola Academy. And that's its own standalone school, middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And he thought at the time, well, why do we need to build a whole new school building? We have these Catholic schools in the city that the bishop wants to close. Let's go in there in the middle school, implement this program, this longer school day, longer school year, and graduate support, implement the program, keep the schools open. And that's how really we got started is John Vatterott and some other people got together and said, we need, St. Cecilia's on the south side is in danger of closing. Let's go in there, implement this program, keep it open. And by golly, they did. And that was in 2005.
I am familiar with the more you talk, the more I thought of being involved.
Yeah.
I was high school counselor at Brittner High School.
Oh, okay. Okay.
30 years.
Yeah. So you know how hard it is to keep a kid on the right path in high school and get him to college. It's a lot of work. But we build that relationship with our kids in middle school, and then that relationship carries us through high school and college, because we have a lot of programming for our kids. Our graduate support people care about our kids, right? And they know the families and they know the struggles, and they do all that they can to help them stay in school, be successful, and they get to college, and then we carry them through college.
Yes, of course.
Sure.
Do they follow up? Do you follow up on how successful or?
Yeah, we stay. I mean,
pretty much, but you got it all pulled together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when we put our college counseling program in, we also invested in. I don't know if anybody uses Salesforce. It's a customer relation. Okay, Salesforce. So we put in our data management program, and it's built on the Salesforce platform. It's called Copilot, and it's for tracking kids through high school and through college. So we invested in that, and that's how we keep all of our data. And we also, every year, we have a subscription to the National Student Clearinghouse. The National Student Clearinghouse gathers all the college information from all the colleges, in the United States. So we know, we send a report in and we get it back. Okay, here's where your kids are, in college. Because some kids, they need help right getting into college, and they need help that freshman and sophomore year. But after that, they pretty much got it, right? So they don't always answer the phone call or the email or the text, but we keep track of them, and we are constantly reaching out to them to make sure that they have everything they need. And if they want to participate in our scholarship program, then they need to give us their grades and their schedule and all that. So yes, we do probably more than they would like us to. Yeah. Yeah. What other questions do?
What schools are private? Are you getting kids from private schools, public schools? What middle schools are you?
The kids go to the 3 middle schools that we partner with, and that's St. Cecilia, St. Louis Catholic Academy, and then over in East St. Louis, Sister Thea Bowman, which is the only Catholic school left in East St. Louis. So and like I said, most of the kids at Sister Thea Bowman and St. Louis Catholic Academy on the north side, they're not Catholic. We have very few Catholic kids in those 2 schools. Now, St. Cecilia, that school is pretty much 90% Hispanic. Most of those kids and their families are parishioners of St. Cecilia. And so, if you're in those middle schools, then you're in our program. Yeah.
The north side and over on the east side, those schools where many of their students are not Catholic. Their parents are sending those kids to the schools for safety or for better education.
Better education. Yeah, better education, safety. It's convenient. We have or the schools have aftercare. Yeah. So St. Louis Catholic Academy, I don't know for you, if any of you in here are Catholic. It's used to be the old St. Engelbert's. Okay, you know where that is?
My mom's old parish.
Okay, bingo.
I know all about St. Engelbert's.
Okay. So it's right there on the highway. So a lot of our Catholic Academy families live in North County, drop their kids off right there at Shreve and 70, and then continue on in to work, in the city. And then, when aftercare at 5 o'clock, when they get off, they come by and they pick up their kids after work. So it's pretty convenient for them. And then, yes, go ahead.
You must have a large budget. What kind of budget do you have, and what kind of fundraising activities do you do?
We've got about a $2 million budget every year. And Access Academies, as I said, has an executive director, a board of directors, and 2 marketing people. And they do, the usual throughout the year. They do an annual appeal. They do a annual report. Our big fundraiser of the year is our dinner, our gala that we have the first Wednesday in June. So it's June 1st this year. That's our big dinner. We have one big fundraising thing during the year, and that's it.
What's the draw? Is there a special keynote speaker? Or...
Oh, yeah. We've had this dinner since, I think, 2000 and probably this is the maybe 13th year for the dinner. And we've had different keynote speakers, honor different people. Sometimes the bishop comes. But it's just usually our kids are the speakers, so we would have an 8th grader, a kid in high school, and then a kid in college, and they would talk and, here's been my experience, and please give money to this wonderful organization. So yeah, we have a big dinner every year. And then, they do like smaller, before COVID, we would have like a winter party at McGurk's down in Soulard every year, and kind of draw a younger crowd. Our dinner crowd tends to skew a little bit older, so but they're always out there asking for money. Question. What other questions do you have?
Rittner, Howard was one of the counselors when I attended Rittner, and I went back to teach at Rittner.
Yeah.
But right now, they're partnering, and a lot of schools in the state are partnering with a grow your own type of position, and Rittner has, I think, 5 students in that now at SLU.
Oh, yeah.
They go and study education
Mhm.
and then go back to their high schools, and they're not guaranteed a job, but they're guaranteed an interview. Do any of your students have they gone through that with SLU? It's a relatively new program. I mean, maybe a couple of years.
Well, I don't know, is anyone in here familiar with the Billiken Teacher Corps at St. Louis U? It sounds sort of like that. They take any college graduate. So you would have finished would have received a bachelor's degree, and you could have gotten this at, Rockhurst or UMSL or wherever. And then you come back and you agree to teach for 2 years in one of the Catholic schools in the city, usually an underserved Catholic city. And you would then you can participate in getting your master's degree at SLU for free. And then you have to agree to teach so many years after that. And we have not had any access kids in that program, but for the first time this year, I have a access student, a senior, and he goes to St. Louis U High, and he wants to be a teacher. So there is a scholarship at the School of Education, because I'm in the School of Education.
Okay.
They have a scholarship for underserved students, and then they can put them through the program for free. So he's going to be our first one through the School of Education. And but we have right now access kids at SLU. We've got 10 access kids at SLU. And this past May, we had our first graduates from St. Louis U of our program. So Tyler Flowers graduated from the School of Accounting, and Dennis Vasquez graduated from, he got his marketing degree, I believe, and he's working at Anheuser-Busch now, and I don't know where Tyler is, but she's gainfully employed. But we've got 10 kids at SLU right now, and we've got kids, at UMSL, we've got kids at Fonfon. And personally, for me, I've been there for 16 years, so I've seen these kids, get out of middle school and go to high school, and then, go to college. And one of the things I'm most proud of at Access has been, this past year, I hired 2 of our graduates to be graduate support directors at St. Cecilia. So Vivian Garcia and Naomi Carranza graduated from St. Cecilia. Vivian went to Rosati King High School, and then she went to Fonfon, and she did her practicum hours with us. And then after she was done with that, I had an opening, so I hired her. And then last year, Naomi Carranza, she went to Notre Dame High School. She went to Eastern Connecticut State University on a scholarship, got her social work degree. She was working at the St. Patrick's Center as a counselor for the unhoused. And she did that for a year, and then we had an opening, and I hired her last year. So we've got 2 grads who went through the program and are now working with us, helping our kids do the same thing that we helped them do so many years ago. So that's been really exciting.
Yeah, that's kind of the basis of the Grow Your Own. Yeah. I mean, they take that education track in high school and college, and then have the opportunity to come back, not guaranteed,
right?
The opportunity to go back to your high school if you graduate.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I wish more high schools did that.
It's beginning to pick up throughout the state, and everybody kind of calls it something different, but that's to help with the teacher shortage, so to speak.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the things that was new in the state of Missouri last year was the MIMO scholarship. Has anybody heard of that? The MIMO scholarship is available. They just started it last year, and last year they opened it up to freshmen in high school. And so we had all our kids apply. And so it is, if you maintain a 2.5 GPA every year at your high school, you have 90% better attendance then you can get, for every year that you do that in high school, you can get $2,500 per year to be used in college. Okay, so you have to apply for the scholarship, upload your grades and attendance, and you have to open a 529 account. And so the families open a 529, they can just put $1 in it. Whatever they put in there, the state of Missouri puts $100 in. And then the families can then contribute to that 529, while the kids are in high school, and then that's available to them as when they get to college. Did you have a question? Okay, maybe I was imagining a hand, but so a lot of our kids at St. Cecilia, their families have different documentation statuses, right? So in order to open a 529, you have to be either a citizen or a permanent resident. And a lot of our families at St. Cecilia don't fall into that category. So access, what we did is we had to go back and forth with the Missouri Higher Education, and we said, look, you're cutting these families out of this scholarship just because they can't open a 529. How about you let me open the 529 for them, and then they can participate in this. So we have opened those 529s for our families at St. Cecilia who cannot do that. So, that's an incredible opportunity for our kids, for money, for college scholarships, and we want them to be, able to participate in that. So, we're gonna do everything that we can to force them to fill out these scholarships and participate in the program, because they're gonna appreciate when they finally are seniors in high school and they're looking for money. Like, this is what I want to do, so how do I afford this? Yeah. So that's some of the activities that we do. What other questions does anybody have? What high schools did we go to in here? Just shout them out. Rittner?
Yeah, no.
What was it? Yeah. How about over here? Pattonville? U High, okay. We got a bunch of kids at U High. Anybody else? Leduc? Don't have any kids there. Never had any kids at Leduc. St. Dominic, whew, that's way out there, Ruth.
Brian Scott. He went there too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Leduc? Okay. Anybody else? Kirkwood? Okay. We've not had any kids at Kirkwood. We have kids at, the high schools that I mentioned. We have them. We have some kids at Vashon, Soldan, Bayless, KIP, Confluence, but the 85% of our kids are in private Catholic high schools in the city, or I should say private schools. We have a slug of kids at Lutheran North. We've got kids at Lutheran South. We've got, like I said, we have that one student way out there at Westminster. But we've had one kid at Whitfield, and that's probably it. But usually anywhere in the city, if you pick a high school, we've got kids there.
Ann and I worked with it, program for middle school, starting in middle school, so for a long time, over 14 years, something like that.
Yeah.
A long time ago, and so on until, but we were kind of on the other end of it. We chose people who were going to be potential dropouts. And we were very successful until we got a superintendent who didn't believe in it.
Yeah, it's that you have to have your hands on the kids to increase that graduation rate. And for our graduation rate, we have had a few kids over the years who did not finish, but overall our graduation rate is 98%. Graduate from high school.
Did 110%. Keep them there.
Yeah. 96% of our kids are accepted to some post-secondary college, and 93% actually show up their freshman year. Now, we hopefully now that we have this our college counseling program is in this will be the 5th school year that we can increase the persistence, right? Because for low-income first-generation students, the college graduation rate hovers somewhere between 19 and 25%. Okay, we do better than that. Even without our college, we get about 35% of our kids before our college program took off. So that was without any help through college, right? But now that we have our college program, we hope that number will be even higher. And I don't know if any of you have kids that have recently gone through college, but it takes more than 4 years nowadays to get through college, usually about 6. And so that's kind of the standard that we look at. We give our kids 6 years to graduate, and then we look at the rate. But because, you know, we have our data system in place, that we're able to track those kids and do different reports. And so we've upped our game in that respect.
Well, thank you very much.
And I have some pamphlets if you would like to, you can pass those down, and if anyone would like to provide any funds for Access Academy, I'm sure that they would be appreciated. The address is in here. It just tells a little bit more about our program. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Yeah. All right. No, do we have a drawing? We do. All right. Let's see if we can give away some money today.
As often said, if you win, we will respect your privacy.
Okay.
No, it won't. It's being recorded, so no, it won't.
And the winner is 309.
It's Todd.
It's Todd.
All right, so. Yeah, you're doing good, so you can be Todd.
You got to last week.
You know, I saw Todd last week at the dentist. I just keep giving this guy money one way or the other.
Okay, well, next week, Mr. Robinette is responsible for the program. What do we have, sir?
We will be finishing, Dan will be next week, with the talk on fellowships.
Okay. And Mrs. Robinette has the
And
program.
that's where we're gonna finish up the new member with the foundation and the resources that we didn't get to what we did originally.
Carolyn, if you're still online with us, you have.
She's
not. Okay, well, Carolyn and Mr. Strohmeyer, you have the 15th of February. So, and then Chuck has the 23rd, 22nd of February. So,
and we do have a couple of programs in our back pocket if we absolutely positively have to pull them out. But don't just, oh, they got a program, so I'm not gonna look. Please try to find something. These are for kind of emergency use.
I got an email from someone that Al gave one of our cards to, wanted to know how she attends the meetings. And I'm not sure if she's wanting to speak or if she just wants to attend the meeting. So I'm reaching out to that person to find out. And we will go from there. So, okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the 4-way test.
Give me a second.
You pop that up.